Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now today's gonna be a quick video. I want to respond to a piece of garbage that I heard Tariq Nasheed saying earlier today. Right, he said that Pan-Africanism is funded by the CIA. Right, the CIA is the driving force behind Pan-Africanism. So I want to go ahead and get into that. Not wasting no time. Run a clip. I'll be right back.
You ain't that important. You don't have, what do you have? Listen, anytime you hear Tethers talk that stupid shit, what do you have going on that the CIA would need to be involved in? You over there in a shantytown frying bushmeat. What the does the CIA need to go over there for? You already neutralized. Now, the CIA was funding Pan-Africanism. Do you know that? The CIA is very well documented going all the way into the 60s. A lot of the Pan-African organizations that was funded by the CIA. Let's be real. All that shit where we center Africa, yeah, that's the FBI CIA funded shit.
All right, we back. Now, before I get into it, I just want to make the announcement. Listen, if you follow this guy, just go ahead and unsubscribe from the channel, right? Just go ahead and unsubscribe from the channel. I'm actually trying to, clean out the garbage from my audience. So just go ahead and unsubscribe from the channel, man. Like I said earlier today on my community tab, take a look up on the screen. As Africa rises, the anti-African noise gets louder. Barrick Gold just lost a major mining asset in Mali. France is stumbling into economic collapse and bankruptcy. And Ibrahim Traore just lifted nearly 700,000 people out of poverty. Yet somehow the attacks on Africa and Pan-Africanism are multiplying. That is not a coincidence. The black auxiliaries of the adversary are hard at work. Now, like I said, this whole movement, like I said before, this is a Sambo movement. These guys put their hands on their chest and pledge allegiance to a white immigrant booty scratcher and Donald Trump. And then they sit up day and night raging against Pan-Africanism. Now, keep in mind, I just seen an article the other day. Take a look up on the screen. 300,000 black women have left the labor force in 3 months, right? Due to the new administration of Donald Trump and his fellow white immigrants, right? Damn near 300,000 black women have been fired from the public sector. That wasn't a Pan-Africanist that did that. That was Donald Trump, commander-in-chief, the white immigrant from Germany, right? But of course, you ain't say nothing about that, right? We got to focus on destroying and dismantling Pan-Africanism, right? Yeah, that's what we got to do, right? And don't forget, those women definitely had children and other family members depending on them. And that wasn't a Pan-Africanist that did that. That was Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief, the white immigrant booty scratcher. But of course, you ain't gonna open your mouth against Trump. You ain't gonna open your mouth against none of the white immigrants that currently make up his administration, right? Because like I said, it's a Sambo movement. It's a whole Sambo movement. And even if you watch my video yesterday, right, entitled Ibrahim Traore just rescued 700,000 citizens out of poverty in a single year, I did a comparison and contrast to the economic performance in the United States, and they said that child poverty within a single year has shot up 10%, which means 1 million additional children are currently living in poverty than the previous year. And simply due to the economics of the country, we do know a good number of those children are most definitely black children. And definitely with 300,000 black women losing their jobs, you already know it's going to be way more children falling deeper into poverty next year. But of course, you ain't saying a goddamn thing about that. We got to focus on Pan-Africanism and making sure Pan-Africanism is destroyed, right? Like I said, Sambo movement. Now, I want to address what he said, right? He said Pan-Africanism is funded by the CIA, right? So he said the CIA is allocating resources to undermine their own interests geopolitically. He said the CIA is allocating resources to dismantle and undermine their own military and security agreements on the continent. He said the CIA is trying to undermine the economic interests of their own multinationals. Because if you say the CIA is funding Pan-Africanism, that's what they're doing. So you're saying the CIA is allocating resources to make sure that refineries get constructed on the continent. So he said the CIA is trying to cut off the Western economy from accessing African markets. That's what he's saying. The CIA is trying to undermine its own interests. So basically what he's saying is the CIA is allocating resources to fund its own destruction. That's basically what he's saying, right? Because if they're funding Pan-Africanism, they're allocating resources to fund their own destruction. And this guy actually has people following him that believe he's intelligent. That's why I say, if you follow this guy, because I noticed some of y'all be in my comment section like, oh yeah, Tariq be speaking facts. Listen, just unfollow me, bro. Just unfollow the channel. I'm really trying to clean out, every now and again, you got to clean out the trash. Listen, just unfollow. If you follow this guy, just please unsubscribe from me. This man is basically saying back in the year 1900, when the first Pan-African Conference was organized by Henry Sylvester Williams, a lawyer from Trinidad, John Alcindor, a physician from Trinidad, Antonin Furman, a Haitian diplomat, lawyer, statesman, general, author, scholar, intellectual. He's saying that when these men organized the first ever Pan-African Conference in the year 1900, in direct response to the scramble for Africa, which was happening around the same exact time, right? When European militaries were bulldozing into the continent. So these men came together to organize a counteroffensive against the adversary. He said they did that at the behest of the CIA. The CIA allocated resources to undermine European colonization. And this man actually has followers and supporters. That's why I say, if you follow this guy, just unsubscribe from my channel. And it's so funny, right? Because Tariq will say, oh, I used to be a Pan-Africanist, right? Or his followers would say, oh, we invented Pan-Africanists. We were the only ones practicing Pan-Africanism. But at the same time, it's a CIA-backed project. So the CIA was backing you, was funding you to be a Pan-Africanist. That's what you're saying. So you're saying that you are an asset for the CIA. Because one minute you say, oh, the Africans don't practice Pan-Africanism. We're the only ones that practice Pan-Africanism. We invented Pan-Africanism. But now Pan-Africanism is a product of the CIA. So you and the CIA were working in concert to bring Pan-Africanism to the forefront. That's what you're saying. Like I said, man, if this movement was strong enough, then it would be able to stand on its own. But you see, in order to give this movement legitimacy, you have to spread propaganda. You have to tell lies. You have to create fake bullshit history. You have to do all this extra bullshit to give it legitimacy because it cannot stand on its own merit. We got to say Pan-Africanism is a CIA project. We got to make up fake bullshit history, pseudoscience, right? It cannot stand on its own merit and its own credibility. You have to come with fake bullshit to give it legitimacy. And going back to one of the gentlemen I mentioned earlier, Antonin Furman, one of the organizers of the first ever Pan-Africanist conference back in the year 1900, when he ran for president of Haiti in 1902, do you know that the German government in concert with the American government both came together to sabotage his presidential campaign and back the opposition? And in fact, they actually attacked the country and destroyed one of the flagship warships in the Haitian Navy. Take a look up on the screen, right? That's the Cretapiewul, the flagship of the Haitian Navy, after it got bombed and destroyed by the German Navy, right? Because the German Navy were backing the opposite candidate because they didn't want Antonin Furman, the Pan-Africanist, the organizer of the first ever Pan-African Conference, to be elected president and actually have power on an international level, right? So they came together and destroyed his presidential campaign, and he was sent into exile, and he died in exile. Now, if Pan-Africanism was a CIA-backed project, then why would they sabotage the presidential campaign of Antonin Furman? Because if the CIA was truly backing it and funding it, like you said, then they would put all their support behind Antonin Furman, the Pan-Africanist, the anti-colonialist. They would put all their support behind his campaign because he was the Pan-Africanist candidate. So why did they come together to sabotage him and send him into exile? And not only that, back in the late 1800s, when the United States wanted to establish a naval base on the island, when he was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he told the United States, you ain't establishing a goddamn thing in my country. So, of course, when it came to Antonin Furman, when he ran for president, of course, Western nations came on one accord to sabotage his presidential campaign. But if he was funded by the CIA, if Pan-Africanism is a project of the CIA, then Antonin Furman would be the prime candidate. So like I said, man, you're a clown. Your movement is a bunch of clowns, right? Instead of focus on Pan-Africanism, you really should focus on the fact that American children, the poverty rate amongst American children is climbing year by year, right? 300,000 black women just got sacked from the public sector. And unfortunately, not a single black man in your audience has the capacity to provide jobs to replace the jobs they lost. But of course, your true adversary is Pan-Africanism, right? Not the rising poverty and unemployment in the United States, right? Your true adversary is Pan-Africanism. Now, earlier today, I saw you released a video entitled, "Why Was Pan-Africanism Abandoned?" As if you are the gatekeeper, as if you are the kingmaker when it comes to Pan-Africanism. Some random 60-year-old dude in his basement out in California, he's the gatekeeper of Pan-Africanism, and he determines whether it's abandoned or not. A man who has no territory, no military, and no embassy. All he has is his damn laptop and his webcam. And in his mind, he has the power to determine the fate of Pan-Africanism. Listen, I'll take you seriously when you can create 300,000 jobs for all the women that just lost their jobs and sitting at home with no source of income. Then I'll take you seriously. Then I'll be like, okay, you are a kingmaker, right? You have the power, you have the leverage, right? But as it stands right now, brother, you've simply been relegated to an internet comedian who masquerades as a political strategist. Your rhetoric doesn't translate to real life. And in fact, I saw a funny comment somebody put in your comment section earlier today. He said this: Pan-Africanism literally made the United States do a 180 on attacking Burkina Faso and made that Sambo Langley get his mind right. He started saying, I'm black as well. You remember that?
I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Tory and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
Now, of course, you remember that. And I remember you made some fraudulent video trying to separate yourself away from Langley, when in reality, you and Langley are the same person. The only difference is Langley operates in a professional capacity. Langley is actually a black man with international, notoriety. He can correspond directly with heads of state and foreign diplomats. He actually has power in the real world. You're just a random huckster in your basement, but you and Langley are the same guys, right? Both playing for the same team, right? Waving the same flag, repping for the same interests. You see, when it comes to Langley, he was telling lies on President Ibrahim Traore, but you tell lies on Pan-Africanism, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Both of y'all telling lies, a bunch of lying hucksters, right? But there's really no difference between you and Langley. Both of you stand in direct opposition to Pan-Africanism, so it's really no difference. But if you remember, after Langley made those falsified statements, due to the backlash that he received from Pan-Africanists all over the world, he had to come back and apologize and actually say, listen, I got love for the captain. He was copping pleas. Oh, I got love for the captain. Oh man, Pan-Africanism is real, right? Had that man talking like he was a hostage, right? Take a look up on the screen.
Your remarks recently at the Senate seem to suggest that he's diverting, General Traore, is diverting its 4 billion gold reserves to sustain his military rule rather than for public welfare. These remarks sparked widespread, condemnation across the continent.
Pan-Africanism is real and it's strong. Pan-Africanism is real and it's strong.
Listen, man, the Pan-Africanists around the world made the 4-star black general of the United States Marine Corps fold like a lawn chair, made him come back on the camera and correct his statements. And that's one of the most powerful black men in the country. And of course, now we can see that he was lying and telling stories the whole time, because the World Bank report came out and said that in the past year, the captain has raised damn near 700,000 people out of poverty. And he's basically become the face of Pan-Africanism in the modern era. So when you come out and make statements saying that why Pan-Africanism was abandoned, who are you to say that? What authority do you have to determine that? For example, take a look up on the screen. Mali establishes itself as Senegal's primary African trading partner in 2024, confirming the strength of their economic ties. More than half of Senegal's exports to the continent were destined for Mali, a sign of a robust relationship. Senegal's exports to Mali increased by 8.6%, reaching 1.4 billion. And in fact, I saw a headline that just came out recently. Botswana's government to acquire a controlling stake in De Beers. And I believe that's the diamond company, right? So they're trying to acquire a controlling stake in their diamond sector, one of the main national resources. And it's ironic because we already know the close relationship that the president of Botswana has with President Ibrahim Traore. So they've probably been having conversations, right? So when this guy says that why Pan-Africanism was abandoned, who are you to determine that, brother? You have no power in the real world. Your so-called top American general, your top black general got embarrassed on the international stage trying to come against Pan-Africanism. So with all due respect, brother, who are you? Who are you? When I see the captain getting military equipment from overseas and the president of Ghana allowing the equipment to pass through his territory in transit to Burkina Faso, that's Pan-Africanism. That's collaboration. That's cooperation. When I see Senegal and Mali, Ghana and Mali signing military agreements, that's Pan-Africanism. So when you say Pan-Africanism is dead, right, and you put up this image with the tombstone, right, what you're saying is that you want the Western multinationals to continue to plunder the continent with zero resistance, right? When you say Pan-Africanism is dead, what you're saying is that you stand against these trade networks and these economic alliances and these military alliances taking place, right? When you say Pan-Africanism is dead, then you're saying that you are satisfied with black men around the world remaining in the current position that they occupy, right? And then earlier in the video, you said that the CIA and these, foreign intelligence agencies have no interest to defend on the continent because according to you, it's nothing but a bunch of bushmeat eaters on the continent. And it's ironic because when Joe Biden was actually running for president, he had a couple candidates for the Secretary of Defense. And one of them was actually a black man by the name of Daryl Blocker. Daryl Blocker, a black man who was actually a CIA agent, an agent for the Central Intelligence Agency. And he spent a good majority of his career serving in Africa, right? Serving as a spy in Africa, right? Very similar, cut from that same cloth as Michael Langley, right? You, Daryl Blocker, Tariq Nasheed, cut from the same cloth, right? Cut from the same cloth. Take a look up on the screen. Throughout his 28-year career, Daryl Blocker served in 10 countries, among them Senegal, Burundi, Uganda, Niger, Nigeria, Somalia, Morocco, Pakistan. He said, "I've had 27 addresses in my 56 years, 22 of those as an adult." He recruited and developed undercover sources and spies who would provide intelligence about potential threats and targets in his area of responsibility. He began playing music as a part of his espionage duties in Senegal in 1996. While undercover in Uganda, Daryl Blocker became a minor celebrity as a lead singer in a popular local band in the capital city of Kampala, known as the Kampala Jazz All-Stars, right? So this guy, Daryl Blocker, this black man, right, was going around the continent, various, countries, Niger, Senegal, all over the place, right? Uganda. And he was masquerading as a musician when in reality, he was a spy for the CIA. He was an agent for the Central Intelligence Agency. Yes. But according to you, the CIA doesn't have any interest to defend on the continent. And in fact, I just seen that tomorrow, I believe tomorrow, you're going to upload a video entitled, "Is Ibrahim Traore selling out to Russia?" Right? So now, on the heels of the news that the captain done raised damn near 700,000 people out of poverty in his country, you're putting up a video insinuating that he's selling out to foreign powers, while at the same time downplaying and trying to run cover for the CIA and saying that they have nothing to defend on the continent, when in reality, the CIA is sending black men into the continent that look just like you to run espionage operations on the continent, masquerading as singers and musicians. Anyways, man, I'm not going to waste my time. Like I said, if you follow this guy, just unfollow me. I don't really have time for the two-faced bullshit. A lot of y'all come in, "Oh, we got love for Africa. We got love for the continent." Then you're going to sit up and listen to somebody like this. Just unfollow me, man. Just unfollow me. I don't want to have a bunch of subscribers and a bunch of them is a bunch of idiots, a bunch of, dumbasses. I really don't. I'd rather have 2,000 subscribers that are solid than have 2 million who's a bunch of dumbasses. And that's why I purposely insult your movement. That's why I call y'all cockroaches, because I want you to unsubscribe. I don't want you here. I only want my people here. I only want true down to the bone Pan-Africanists. I don't want a bunch of two-faced individuals. So like I said, you follow this guy and you rock with this guy and his rhetoric and his ideology, just unsubscribe for me, period. Anyways, I'm gone. Peace.
Walk in the room and I stop all that talking. Stay on alert and I'm moving with caution. Feeling like baby, I'm up in New Orleans. Feeling like Stunner, feeling like Weezy. Look at my nigga, my wrist is Fiji. Trying to get cash, I don't want to be famous. Look at my nigga, my wrist contagious. Ain't no stopping when I get started. Ain't no stopping, gotta go harder. Drop that top, whip go brainless. Chasing that check, I ain't trying to be famous. Whipping that Benz, feeling like spaceships. Everything official, ain't no fake shit. Doors unlocked, community gated. Look at this ice, bet they gon' hate it. Look at my life, enemy vanquished. Then it's on sight, gun in your faces. Look at that love, turn to hatred. Kill my ops like a Haitian. Ain't no love, ain't no honor, ain't no trust, ain't no conscience. I ain't perfect, but I'm honest. Enemy lurking, enemy watching, enemy stalking, taking photos 24/7. Straight surveillance, hit a new spot, change location. Shorty got wet off my cadence. Just see ice, but I got papers. Ladies love me, and I got flavors. Ain't no love in these streets. Nigga, yo jaloux, yo méchant. Got them chains off my feet, by the sword and by the gun. They throw flowers at my feet, and they say that I'm the one, and they say that I'm the target. When they see me, they pay homage. Shorty talking about divesting, she with Malibu most wanted. When I go and get that check, I put it up and make it stack. Breaking that bank, whipping that Benzo. When I pull off, it go fast. Need a Fortune 5 accountant just to count up all this cash. Got these samples trying to sue me just to make me walk it back. Yeah. Walk in the room and I stop all that talking. Stay on alert and I'm moving with caution. Feeling like baby, I'm up in New Orleans. Feeling like stunning, feeling like Weezy. Look at my nigga, my wrist is Fiji. Trying to get cash, I don't wanna be famous. Look at my nigga, my wrist contagious. Ain't no stopping when I get started. Ain't no stopping, gotta go harder. Drop that top, whip go brainless. Chasing that check, I ain't trying to be famous. Whipping that Benz, feeling like spaceships. Everything official, ain't no fake shit. Doors unlocked, community gated. Look at this ice, bet they gon' hate it. Look at my life, enemy vanquished. And it's on sight, gun in your faces. Look at that love, turn to hatred. Kill my ops like a Haitian. Ain't no love, ain't no honor, ain't no trust, ain't no conscience. I ain't perfect, but I'm honest. Enemy lurking, enemy watching, enemy stalking, taking photos 24/7, straight surveillance. Hit a new spot, change location. Shorty got wet off my cadence. Just seen ice, but I got papers. Ladies love me, and I got flavors. Ain't no love in these streets. Nigga, jaloux, you méchant.